All right, good morning. How are you today? Looks like you guys are ready to go. That's great. So I'll be teaching the 541 Systems and Software Standards Requirements, which is really important course. That's why I'm teaching. All right, so my office is 427, just in case you're interested coming to my office. I have a lot of candies in my office, sweets. So you're very welcome to come to my office anytime. Oh, okay. So let me give you the brief background of this course. Some of you know F.B. Brooks is one of the software engineer, one of the software engineering gurus. And so he was the IBM 36 project manager a long time ago, and also a professor at University of North Carolina. And he authored many papers and books. And so two papers that are really important, not more interesting, are called Mythical Man-Month. Probably some of you read that. And No Silver Bullet, Essence and Accidents of Software Engineering. So if you read the paper, and which I also distribute to you beginning of the semester, actually this weekend, then you will see a lot of things that he's claiming. All right. So it's one thing he says, the single hardest part of building a software and a software system is deciding precisely what to build. There's a problem. A lot of people trying to build something, but they don't know what to build, or they have vague ideas, but not precisely. Okay. And also another claim here is no other parts of the work is so cripples the resulting system if done wrong. So if you don't have proper requirements, that's what the system's supposed to do, you're gonna totally destroy the entire system. And no other part is more difficult to rectify later. So trying to fix at the end of the life cycle, the requirements obviously is total disaster. Okay, so some claims. So then it says failure to understand and control the requirements is #1 reason of project failure. Okay, so if you don't have good requirements, that is what system's supposed to do. And if you don't do that way, then this #1 cause for system project failure. So I'm going to reason here a couple of studies here. So that's why we need to have excellent requirements, right? So there are two things that studies. Okay, two studies that have been, I just want to show here. With this one of the papers, also you need to read. Has shown that there is a golden beaver study. So they examine 39 projects, right? And then see whether they're satisfied with the product that they received. And they found out that if the requirements are well-defined, right, then they say 33 of them said we're really happy with the product. But if they're not well-defined, the requirements are not very precise, then they say it's not good product. All right, so there has 33 of 39, more than 80% say that project is good or satisfactory if the requirements are well known. And then another thing is interesting thing is the curve here is a very kind of ugly curve here. So there has been a study how much it's going to cost to rectify or to correct an error defect you find. All right, so there has been a study. Now, you guys know the basic life cycle of the software development, certain requirements and specification, design, implementation, and operation maintenance. So if you look at that general frame here, so if you normalize the cost for rectify a problem during the requirements phase is 1, so whatever unit may be. If you find that same problem during specification, that is once it's written, and then trying to rectify same problem costs 2. It's still okay, 1 or 2. I mean, it costs 1 million, 2 million, who cares? Then if you find during the design phase, this you build architecture and all these things, it costs already sixfold, $6 million. Now, okay, argue, okay, that's still okay, 1 or 6 million, who cares? But if you go to the implementation phase, when you are writing the code actually and integrates, then it costs $20 million. So now that we're talking about money, right? Now, worst case is that if you actually give out the project and people are using it, and during the operation phase, they found out that there's no limit, basically, the cost to rectify the problem. It can be 60 to 200 fold. So 1 million, which you could have corrected during the requirements phase. If you're trying to correct the same problem during the maintenance phase, can cost like $70, $100 million. Okay. Obviously, from that picture, you can see. So if you want to find the defect, where do you want to find it? During the requirement phase, obviously. So that's why it's really important that we have well-defined a good requirements. So that motivates it. Okay, that's why many projects will over the cost, the initial cost that they estimated. Okay, so excellent requirements is really important. So in this course, basically 2 things, right? So initially, obviously, what is an excellent requirements? The definition of excellent requirement, and how do we establish an excellent requirements? Right? So it costs less overall. So we talked about there are steps we go through. We could actually call it requirement engineering now. So it's software engineering. Requirement itself is engineering process. Okay? So there are 4 steps: elaboration, analysis, specification, verification. 4 steps. We're going to talk about those. And also, secondly, is how to manage those requirements. Once you establish requirements, things are changing constantly. As you know, agile methodology, things change. Then how do you manage these changes that are constantly coming from the clients? So 2 things: how to establish one and how to manage the existing one. Okay? And using IEEE standard. There is IEEE standard that we have to follow basically to show this is how we create an excellent requirements. Okay. All right, so there are 1 required textbook, Uyghurs, Software Requirements in 3rd edition, Microsoft Crest 2013, and the other one is actually IEEE Michael Smith, IEEE Software Engineering Standards. But that is, if I need something from that book, I'll just give it to you. Fair use. Okay, and then the first one is really required. Yeah, it's a big book. It's like 600 pages, but I probably will not cover everything, but certain things that are really important. And also, I'll give you a lot of papers to read, so that make sure you read those papers too. Your grad students, you should be able to read papers and write things, right? So. All right, so the coursework itself, how do you get an A here? All right, so there are 3 things you have to do. First of all, exam. All right, midterm, there's midterm and final exam. So midterm is 20% and final 30%. So as we get on, how do you take all these exams and et cetera, you have a lot of questions, I'm sure. I'll let you know as we get close to the exam time. I'll make sure that you guys have understanding and it's not that difficult. So midterm exam, though, one thing you should remember is there's no makeup midterm exams. All right, so there are fixed dates that. So if you cannot make it for some reason during illness or whatever, that you let me know. Then if I accept your reasoning, then your final grade will be 50% rather than just 30%. Right. So final is 30% regularly, but if you miss midterm for valid reasons, I have fighting with my girlfriend is not a valid reason. Okay, so so anyway, if you're ill, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like you're ill or you have car accident, or you're arrested. Okay, those are all valid. Okay, well, depending on why you are arrested is actually important. Okay, so make sure they communicate with me. Okay, I know there are a lot of problems going on in our lives. So let me know what happening. I try to be as helpless as much as I can, right? So final 30%, Okay, we're using our Canvas exam future. Again, I'll let you know like 1 week, 2 weeks before the midterm itself or exam. So you have, you feel more comfortable. Okay, I know some of you are coming back to school and a little bit anxious how it's going. So we understand that. All right. So second is term project. It's a group project. So typical size of 3 or 4. But if you think that you have 5, you cannot separate, there are 5 people who want to do together, let me know. I'll try to be flexible. But then other people say, okay, I just want to do 2. There's my best buddy. I don't want to be anyone else. Communicate with me. I try to also adjust that. So it's regular size 3 to 4. So it's good time today to get to know each other, at least 3 or possibly 4, so you can do work together. Okay. So basically, the project is writing the SRS, or self-requirement specification documents based on IEEE standard. So we're going to talk about that throughout the process, throughout this session. So typically, I accept late submissions, but there will be obviously deductions, which the policy is 10% automatic deduction if you're late. So it's due today, you cannot submit it tomorrow. So you'll be late, so 10% automatic. So best point you can get is 90%. And then 1% each day you're late. So if you're late for 1 week, then it's 10 plus 6% maximum you can get, right? So there must be some reason why you cannot submit. So the last one is participation points. So that's really important. So since we're in cyberspace, probably I've seen you last time. Some of you are not coming even to the midpoint seminars. Probably seeing you last time or during graduation. So I need to know that you guys are actually participating in the class. Okay, so the way I do is that I try to at least to know you a little bit more is one chapter summary. So if you read each chapter, you have to write 1 or 2 pages per chapter and you submit it. So I know that you are doing the work actually. So it's kind of trying to be counting that you're actually doing the work. Okay, so chapter summary. Again, automatic deduction applies here if you're late. The other one is discussion boards. So I will make discussion boards available. You have to participate in discussions. Okay? So I know that you are actually participating. Okay, if you don't write anything, what is doing? All right, so what is she doing? Okay, so meaningful, expect at least 2, whatever meaningful posting per chapter. So you have to do that. Each board has a deadline. Make sure that, or chapter summaries and board do have deadlines. Make sure you submit that. Okay, so grading policy. Midterm 20%, class participation is 10-10, chapter summary 10, board discussions 10, final exam 30%, and term project 30%, so total 100%. So the grades, if you have 90% and above, you got at least A minus. That is, if you have, there's no real curve. So if you get 90% above, you get automatically A minus, could be higher. So sometimes I look at it as overall, I can curve a little bit. It's okay, A minus is good for 90% is good for 8. So I may actually higher, level lower, higher. I'm trying to adjust it a little bit. So if you have 90%, you get at least A minus. University-wise, is actually 94 between 97 is A. So here 90% is again A minus, but could be higher. Actually, you could get an A. So same thing with 80% total score is B minus. So I don't try to give A actually below B for obvious reasons, right? But if you insist to getting one, but I have no problem to give you one. So some people don't turn in anything at all. I tell them, okay, you were chapter summary, no response. So what can I do there? I'm not sure. So I scratch my hair saying, okay, he wants C. So I try to give a C, but rarely happens that. All right. I know you guys are anxious to study hard, so I have no doubt you will do very well. I never give an F in my 20-some years here. So C rarely, very rarely. Okay. All right. So in order to succeed this course, you have to do the following from the course syllabus. So of course, everything will be posted tonight. send you email or tomorrow morning, whichever course syllabus, especially course calendar. So it tells you all the times that you have to turn in, what you have to do each week. So it tells course calendar, course syllabus, so everything will be available tonight or early tomorrow morning, okay? So make sure you print those one, the special calendar, you need to print it out and leave it next to your work area and make sure that what's due this week, what to do this week, what to do this week, okay? So you have the midterm and you have the project and final exam, it should be good. So important thing is you need to plan. So now the reason is the final notes is that some of you have taken online classes, you are good, but some of you not taking online courses, and you might be wondering. So usually in classroom lectures. So one thing you should remember, there is the no formal lecture. We call it asynchronous, not asynchronous. So the lecture communication, there will be everything, will be some videos, some slides, and voice, everything will be online. So there are no formal lecture, no face-to-face meetings. Again, you will be using Canvas, and you'll see a lot of emails or announcements from me. Okay, make sure you read announcements, please. And the study method is more disciplined. Okay, so there will be reading material you need to read by so and so that you have to read it, right? So you cannot just say, okay, say whatever you want. I go my way. Okay, that doesn't work. So please read. And it requires some patience. So since we're not seeing every week, it's something you have a lot of questions, but you may not get right away response. So you have to be a little more patient. But you are professionals and you know how to work with other people, right? So more discipline, more patience, but it has a lot of advantages. So again, check your emails at least 2 or 3 times a week. And if you have any questions, please send me an email or whatever. You can call me during office hours, Zoom during my office hours. Usually I respond within 24 hours. A few hours, okay. 24 is probably way too long. So I try to respond as soon as I can. All right, so good luck and we'll see you soon. Tomorrow. Okay. Any questions? Quick question. No? Okay, good. See you then.